the site, and the IAEA Secretary General, or Amano, I mean, I'm blanking on his exact title, but anyway, the Director General has said that, you know, there is some evidence that Iran is cleaning up the site. So why are you citing reports? I mean, do you believe that Iran is cleaning up the site?
Well, again, you yourself pointed to Director General Amano's statement, which expresses the concern that we have.
Do you share his concern?
The P5+1 also expressed concern that we've got to get in there. Any evidence that Iran is seeking to cover its tracks would raise only further concern about the true nature of the program. So we are offering talks so that Iran can prove to the world what it says, which is that its program's for peaceful purposes. If that's the case, they ought to allow inspectors into Parchin as soon as possible.
Are you saying that there, excuse me, you say any evidence that Iran is trying to hide its tracks? Is that
Yes.
was what you said? Well, do you believe that there is evidence that Iran is trying to hide its tracks?
Again, I have pointed to what Director General Amano has said. I have pointed to the P5+1 statement. I'm not going to speak to our intelligence on this issue.
I mean, then, you know, then you can leak anything out there that you want, or not you personally, and then maybe not even this building. But people can point to reports all the time. This is a classic. It happened during the Iraq War. Oh, we're not going to talk about intelligence, but look at this story that was on the front page of such and such a newspaper. That the Iraqis are building this new, you know, huge aluminum tubes. You know what I'm talking about.
Matt, this is a whole lot more straightforward than that.
This site. Someone out there is throwing up things saying there are satellite pictures that show that Iran is cleaning something up. You're not willing to say that there are these photos, but you're willing to say that the reports about them are of concern.
Reports coming from U.S. officials.
I am not going to speak about U.S. intelligence. I am going to point you back to...
But you can cite reports that talk about U.S. intelligence?
There are press reporting with regard to these concerns. I'm not going to get into it, but I am going to say to you that we've had concerns about Parchin. That's why we wanted the IAEA to get in there. The Iranians were supposed to allow that a couple of weeks ago. They didn't allow it. We are all concerned, so we want to see that happen.
If these reports are credible, do they slow down the diplomatic momentum, in your opinion?
Again, we need to get folks into Parchin so we can see what's going on. Iran needs to come clean about what it's doing. It has many ways to do that. One of the ways it can do that is to let the IAEA into all the sites that it wants to see.
Please, in the back. New topic.
Yeah.
Do you have a readout of the talks with DPRK in Beijing on trade issues?
I think that Ambassador King spoke to the press a little bit after he finished. So they had a pretty good round, as I understand it. There are now some technical things that have to happen, so he's coming home to Washington to work on that, but I don't have anything further.
So is that those remaining issues, can you give us a sense of how significant these issues are? I mean, is that something you have to continue discussions with the DPRK, or is this something you have to consider and discuss inside the U.S. government?
Well, I think he made clear that he needs to come home and report, and there are a number of technical things that have to go forward. I think we are cautiously optimistic that this is going to work out, that we'll be able to deliver the nutritional assistance.
Topic?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Iraq?
Yeah.
On this day of the International Day of Women's International Day, all reports point that the situation for women in Iraq has gotten much, much worse than, let's say, 10 years ago. In the north, for instance, in the region of Kurdistan, there has been an increase in honor killing, maybe tenfold. Women are not allowed positions as they were in the past in Baghdad and the central government and all the provinces. So do you have a comment on that?
I haven't seen this data that you are referring to, Saeed. I think one of the positive aspects of the transition in Iraq is that the Iraqi constitution so strongly protects the rights of women and their inclusion. And you know, that is change. So you know, our hope and expectation is that local authorities as well and judicial institutions would live up to the letter and the spirit of the Iraqi constitution in terms of protecting the rights of women and protecting the advances that women have made in Iraqi society.
Are there any particular engagements that you're aware of that the embassy or perhaps body belonging or related or connected with the State Department that work with, let's say, with the Iraqi Union of Women?
The embassy has a very robust program of engagement with women's organizations, NGOs, women leaders in Iraq, to continue to strengthen their participation in Iraqi society and the implementation of their rights.
On Iraq, the MEK is complaining quite strongly about the relocation process for the Camp Ashraf residents, saying primarily that the Iraqis have not signed an MOU that they were supposed to with the UN on how Ashraf was going to be set up, and that they're being hustled out of the camp without being allowed to take their belongings. I'm wondering if you have any readout on how the U.S. thinks the relocation process is going, and do you feel that the Iraqis are living up to their side of the bargain?
Well, we do, and just today, as you know, we had a first tranche of MEK move to Camp Liberty about a week ago, and just today, a second tranche of some 300 MEK have arrived at Camp Liberty. So we've now, of the 3,000 plus, we've now relocated about 800. On top of that, the United Nations has already begun its process to provide refugee processing for those who have moved out of Ashraf and relocated to Camp Liberty. So that is underway, and we think that that is also beginning to encourage more of the folks in Ashraf to move, understanding that they will have far more options for their future if they go up to Liberty.
Do you know, are there any U.S. officials from the embassy or elsewhere observing the actual relocation process, and particularly the departure from Ashraf?
We did have some embassy officials both at Ashraf and at Liberty for the first tranche. I don't know whether that was also the case today. I would guess that we do have some people at Liberty.
Okay, if we could ask about the Ashraf side of it, because that's the side of the equation that they're complaining about most strongly.
We will. Anything else? Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.